Hello, history lovers and ghost story enthusiasts. Today, we're delving into one of history's most enduring and tragic tales. A story that has echoed through the corridors of power for nearly 500 years. We're talking about the ghost of Anne Boleyn, the ill-fated second wife of King Henry VIII. Was she a cunning seductress or a tragic victim? And more importantly, does her spirit still wander the halls of her former homes, forever searching for justice? To understand the ghost, we first need to understand the woman. Anne Boleyn was brilliant, charismatic, and politically savvy. She captured the heart of a king, but in doing so, she changed the course of English history forever. Henry's obsession with Anne and his desperate need for a male heir led him to break with the Catholic Church, establishing the Church of England and making himself its supreme head. For a time, Anne was on top of the world. She was crowned queen, and the nation held its breath, waiting for the birth of a prince. But as we all know, that's not how the story went. Anne gave birth not to a son, but to a daughter, the future Queen Elizabeth I, after a series of miscarriages and stillbirths. Henry's infatuation turned to frustration, and then to deadly fury. His eye had already wandered to Jane Seymour, and Anne, once the object of his desire, was now an obstacle. In a shocking turn of events, Anne was arrested on trumped-up charges of adultery, incest, and treason. Her downfall was as swift as her rise was spectacular. On May 19, 1536, Anne Boleyn was led to a scaffold within the walls of the Tower of London. To spare her the indignity of the common axe, a skilled swordsman was brought from France. With one clean fuck-off strike, her reign was over. She was buried in an unmarked grave in the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, a tragic end for a queen who had promised so much. But for many, her story didn't end there. In fact, it was just the beginning of her haunting legacy. The most famous sightings of Anne's ghost are, unsurprisingly, at the Tower of London. This formidable fortress was her last prison and her final resting place. One of the most chilling accounts comes from the 19th century. A captain of the guard saw a strange light flickering in the locked chapel. Peering through a window, he was stunned to see a ghostly procession of knights and ladies in Tudor dress marching down the aisle. At the head of the procession was a spectral figure of a woman, unmistakably Anne Boleyn. The procession moved slowly and silently before fading into thin air. The captain was so disturbed by what he saw that he reportedly fainted. When the story was investigated, the sentry on duty that night corroborated the captain's account, having also witnessed the phantom procession from his post. Another terrifying tale from the tower involves a soldier who challenged a ghostly figure approaching him in the dark. The figure, a headless woman, continued to advance. When the soldier lunged at it with his bayonet, the weapon passed straight through, and he was knocked unconscious by an unseen force. He was later court-martialed for dereliction of duty, but his fellow soldiers testified on his behalf, claiming they too had seen the headless apparition. The court, perhaps unnerved by the consistency of the tales, acquitted him. But the tower isn't the only place her restless spirit is said to roam. Hever Castle, her childhood home in Kent, is another hotspot for paranormal activity. This is where she spent her happiest years, long before the burdens of the crown weighed upon her. Visitors and staff have reported seeing her graceful figure gliding across the bridge over the River Eden, particularly on Christmas Eve. It's a poignant image, not the terrifying, headless queen of the tower, but the ghost of a young, hopeful woman, returning to the one place she felt truly safe and happy. It's as if her spirit seeks solace in the memories of a simpler time. Then there's Windsor Castle, where she lived as queen. Here, her ghost is said to appear in a more tormented state. People have claimed to see her standing at a window in the Dean's cloister, clutching her head as if reliving the horror of her final moments. Some have even reported hearing her frantic, agonized screams echoing through the stone hallways, a chilling reminder of the betrayal and terror she faced. This version of her ghost seems trapped in a loop of her darkest memories, a stark contrast to the peaceful spirit seen at Hever. Even Blickling Hall in Norfolk, a grand estate built on the site of her birthplace, claims a connection to her spirit. Legend has it that every year, on the anniversary of her execution, a phantom coach, drawn by 4 headless horses, pulls up to the hall. Inside sits the ghostly, headless figure of Anne Boleyn, holding her own severed head in her lap. As the coach makes its grim journey, it vanishes into thin air as it reaches the front door of the hall. This is perhaps the most gruesome and dramatic of all the legends, a yearly reenactment of her final, fatal journey. So, why has the story of Anne Boleyn's ghost captivated us for so long? Perhaps it's the sheer injustice of her fate. She was a woman of immense intelligence and ambition, who was ultimately destroyed by the whims of a powerful man. Her execution was a political maneuver, a brutal act of convenience. Maybe her spirit cannot rest until her name is truly cleared, until the world fully acknowledges the wrong that was done to her. Her ghost represents more than just a spooky story. It's a symbol of defiance. In an era when women were largely powerless and dared to challenge the status quo, she wielded influence, pursued her own desires, and refused to be a passive pawn. In death, her spirit seems to continue this defiance, refusing to be silenced, refusing to be forgotten. Her apparitions are a constant, ghostly reminder of the bloody and often cruel politics of the Tudor court. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the tale of Anne Boleyn's spirit is a powerful one. It speaks to our fascination with history, our empathy for the wronged, and our love for a good mystery. The sightings, spanning centuries and witnessed by everyone from soldiers to tourists, create a compelling narrative. Is it mass hysteria, a trick of the light, or is the spirit of a wronged queen truly still walking among us? The stone walls of the Tower of London, Hever Castle, and Windsor Castle have stood for centuries. They've seen kings and queens come and go. But perhaps, just perhaps, they still hold the spectral echo of one of history's most compelling figures. The next time you walk through a historic English castle, listen closely. You might just hear the whisper of a queen who lost her head but never lost her voice. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the ghostly world of Anne Boleyn. What do you think? Are these just stories, or is there something more to them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more dives into history's most fascinating mysteries. See you next time.